figure Hellraiser 4 is probably in the works, but you could ask the man himself. It's my great pleasure to bring up the man who is Pinhead. You also know him from Nightbreed. Let's have a big Fango welcome for Doug Bradley!
On the floor, God's ashtray. Hi. You have to forgive me if I seem a bit frazzled this afternoon. I've flown in from Toronto. The movie opened in Canada last night, and I missed my flight this morning, but my suitcase didn't. So I had to hook up with it at the airport, and I've had a complete madman of a taxi driver who deserves to die, like the little old lady who nearly ran over as we were leaving the airport because he was driving with one hand and looking in his book as he was going and asking me how to get here. Well, it's finally a great pleasure to stand up on my hind legs at a Fango convention with Hellraiser 3 happen. Because all the previous conventions I've done, I've been promising you Hellraiser 3 for I forget how many years. To head off the first question at the pass, Hellraiser 4 is being talked about. I can't tell you any more than that, so please don't ask me any more than that, simply because I don't know. It just is being talked about, but the movie is really doing very well, and on that basis alone, I think it's pretty likely that a Hellraiser 4 will probably happen next year. So keep your fingers crossed. This is the question about the still that is on the video box for Hellbound of Pinhead and the female Cenobite in surgeon's get-ups. That is down to New World's stupidity, basically. Pete wrote what was an excellent but pretty complicated gag into Hellbound, which was that Kirsty and Tiffany would be making their way down a corridor at the Channard Institute, and two gowned and masked doctors come out of a door and they say, "What are you girls doing here? You know you're not supposed to be in this part of the hospital." They start to answer, and as they do, the gag was that the mask starts to fill with blood, and then the pins burst through the mask, and the doctor is revealed to be Pinhead. Kirsty and Tiffany turn and run, and Pinhead follows them. That was the gag. It's actually a pretty complicated gag to run. When we got on set to try and do it, all they had was a surgeon's mask covering that kind of area. Now, if you put a mask like that on Pinhead, it's kind of obvious who it is. So basically the scene was never shot. There are rumors going around that this scene exists, and I get asked, you know, what was it that was so terrible, so bloody about the scene in which Pinhead was a surgeon? What did he do when he got people on the operating table? But the answer is the scene was never shot, but a couple of photographs were taken while we were trying to see if we could make it work. And New World, as I say, in great intelligence, decided to put that still on the video box. So that's that one laid to rest for the time being, at least. The sequence doesn't exist. At the moment, it isn't happening simply because the guys are not able to raise the money to do it. Not a good climate to be trying to do it at the moment, I guess. But that's the problem at the moment. Money is in the way. So if any millionaires in the audience, speak to me later. Just trying to play him different with it without taking him too far away from what we'd established for him.
He seems soulless in the other two, is basically what I meant. I mean, as opposed to him lacking a soul in 3.
Yeah, the main difference in number 3, obviously, is that we broke the link between Pinhead and the box, and those rules that control Pinhead. That you had to come into contact with the box, you had to open the box before you met him, was the link that we severed. So what you saw him doing in the nightclub, for example, is obviously very far removed. I tried to play him meaner, nastier, but we didn't want to take him away too far from where he had been originally. I would say this, that in the version of Pete's screenplay that was in my possession for a month before I flew out to North Carolina to make the movie, Pinhead was much more hands-on in terms of the violence that was going on. We saw him actually killing the CD DJ and Doc in the nightclub. I mean, actually going up to the DJ's console and flipping the CD out of the player and splitting his skull with it.
So he was
also on the streets, when Joey leaves the nightclub and heads down to the church, there was a great scene in there which Pete had written, in which Pinhead confronted one of the cops who took a bead on him and told him that he was the law, and Pinhead said, I am the law. And had a great line which was, "You are one butt-ugly son of a bitch, and you are about to discover that pain has no ending." Flipped his handcuffs off his belt, put the cuff through the cop's tongue and ripped his tongue out, and then passed on his way, leaving the other Cenobites to finish him off with the Molotov cocktail. Sadly, when I got to North Carolina, that had been removed.
Oh.
So, there you go. Producer's call, bless them. Yep. Hellraiser 3, Tony and Pete came up with the storyline together. Pete wrote the screenplay working with Tony quite late on, because I had met Tony in London and we'd sat and had dinner and we'd talked through the movie and talked through Pinhead and where we were going to go with him. Tony had, let us call it, a creative difference with the producers, and left the project, and to Tony Hickox. So that was the reason. But Tony's gone on and done other things. I've talked to him since. He's cool about it. Yeah, because Pinhead there is quoting directly from the Catholic Mass, "Happy are they who come to my supper. This is my body, this is my blood," and quoting, what's his name? Jesus Christ, yeah. Saying, "I am the way," and the auto-crucifixion, and all of that stuff. But it's all there intact. So far, I haven't heard of any fundamentalists getting steamed up about it, which I must admit I feel kind of disappointed about, because I like a stand-up fight with a fundamentalist. It's good, but it was a good scene, wasn't it? Yeah. I enjoyed doing that to bring Joey into that ending, which tied things up. I think that was a good decision. And then the ending with the building was always there. That's not a tacked-on ending. That was always intended to be the way that the movie would finish up.